All right. Time to get started. Time to remember where things were at. Where things got left off last week. There we go. Good morning. It's time for some more work on DailyJoule. So, last stream we got a bunch of stuff done with authentication. Hold on, I'm gonna switch this track. It's not. Is this even the right? Music must be attended to. Okay, this is okay. All right. So last stream, a bunch of work done on authentication with Passport.js. And things were basically working. That was my note. Here in the last commit. Verified server starts and can auth and get data with session checks. So how did that work? So let's see. We got all this different middleware stuff set up with Passport. Just ignore the warnings about unsafe things. It's fine for now. So I think we were able to verify that, like, we started the backend and we were able to go to Auth Discord, and it did it sent us to Discord. And then we got our auth call back, and then we had a session, and we were able to see that session information inside of tRPC. This indicates that the next thing to do is probably to set up syncing the session information to our database table somehow, some way. I think there was something about a session store. Oh wait, did we do that? Well, we have Prisma Session Store. Okay. Sync everything to DB via Prisma. So we have this. All the stuff that's creating information in the DB. Where I lost it. There we go. Prisma Session Store. Okay. And did I have schema changes? Right, I did change this. So did we do this? And when? I guess. Oh, I see. After the stream last Sunday, I did a little bit extra. That's what I did after the stream. Okay, it's coming back. Right, so I found this package that provides a session store that's compatible with Express Session, that supports storing the session in Prisma and retrieving it through Prisma. And then I had to change the schema a little bit to match what it expected. Because so all this accounts and session stuff was originally based around what NextAuth wanted, but we're not using NextAuth anymore. I'm switched to using Express and Passport.js and Express Session and those things. So I guess that's done. And then the question is, do we want to create tRPC endpoints for doing the authentication rather than having these? Like, we'll probably still need this. We'll need a place. How's this going to work? How should authentication work? I think maybe we don't, right? Need endpoints on the back end for these things. Maybe. There are options. So one option is to keep this the way that it is. And that means essentially where normally the front end is going to be calling the back end via tRPC, specifically for doing authentication, the front end will redirect the user to a URL on the back end, which will then redirect to Discord, and then Discord will redirect back to the back end. So for this to work and do the right thing, we essentially need to have the front end and the back end proxied through the same place, so that we can just do or you could have a full URL redirect, redirect to the front end site if it was like on a separate subdomain or something. But that's workable, right? The other way of doing it would be to have tRPC endpoints, unauthenticated tRPC endpoints, the front end could call. So that would then, right? Because ultimately, what this is going to do is going to get us a URL to go to Discord to kick off authentication. So the front end could call a tRPC endpoint to ask for where do I need to go, and then get that, and then do the redirect itself. And then it could do that like in a window or something, in a new window or an iframe, or I don't know, something. And then maybe not an iframe, but maybe a new window. And then the front end would have a route that would receive the callback and parse the query string, and then call a tRPC endpoint, another unauthenticated one, that would pass the relevant information it got from Discord to the backend to populate the session. So that's a lot of extra steps, is the downside of that. But a pro is that then it makes it so that we don't really have like everything is tRPC. Like everything works the same way on the back end. So that's a pro of doing it that way. But it makes the front end more complicated, I think, versus if we just have it this way. Potentially, if the back end is hosted slightly, you could imagine a situation where your back end is hosted on like a different subdomain or something. But we could work around that. Have to send the user to the right thing and ensure they can get back and all that. Also, I'm not sure. So what I'm imagining, I think I don't know, we'll see. This will be fine. There are potentially flows where it would be nice to be able to like pop up. I don't know. I think it would be interesting if we wanted to like be able to, if the user is logged out, to be able to preserve, like keep the page that they're on, and then have them re-authenticate. I guess we could always open a new window and have them log in something. I don't know. That doesn't have to be solved now. We'll cross that bridge later. So I think for now, I'm just going to take this item out of the list of things to do. And this is effectively done, right? So that's this. There we go. Convert backend API to host with Express. I think we've done that as well. And we have the Vite front end. I think to consider this done, what we need to do is actually see the front end working with the back end and it all coming together. You know, all that stuff. So let's see here. Let's go here. There we go. Full width. So should Docker Compose work nowadays? Oh, right, I have a command for that. A task, Docker Compose. So maybe this will work. It's front end started. Back end. Is running some select queries, I guess. Or it was already running? I see. Okay, well, anyway. How about a browser? Somewhere I have a browser. There we go. Oh, right. Someday we'll fix the actual website. Just gotta get it working locally first. Is it not 3000? It is working. Connection was reset. Kind of odd. Why? Let's just stop everything. Start it again. There's a major update for Prisma. Let's check that out while we're... Upgrade to Prisma 5. Number of changes. New JSON protocol. Release notes. Okay. We'll get that at some point. Did the front end come up yet? This back end. It says it's up. npm run dev. Take a look here at Vite's config. I think if it's listing a localhost, maybe it's not reachable. Server options. Server host. Listen on all interfaces would be this. Turn it off, turn it back on again. And hopefully it'll work this time. There we go. Now it's listing on this IP, which is the Docker container IP, presumably. So if we go back to here and refresh, hey, stuff loads. Or 100. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. And let's look at XHR. So if I go to diary, a little broken. All right. We gotta reconstitute the different pages, right? Did we have any of the pages? Ah, excellent. Yep, we should do things like that. So what's sending us to login? I guess our routes. Okay, and we've not implemented sign out. So there's some stuff to do. All right, so great. I guess now it's time to work on more of the front end stuff. So add a name to your export. Yeah, okay. Const routes equals. Hey, Mono Z. How's it going? Monday for you, Sunday for me. My usual get home from watching F1 and I'm on. F1. As in race cars? Yeah, Formula 1, yes. I know you could mean some other F1, I don't know. Cars in circles. Right. That's right. I have not really... It's not really my thing. I think the last time I really watched that was I was on a trip and staying overnight in a hotel in a small town in Oklahoma, and the only thing on TV on a Sunday was either, I think it might have been it was some kind of, NASCAR or something, or golf. Less circular than NASCAR circles. Yeah. It was a dull Sunday. From my perspective. Alright, so we have routes, and they're not connected to anything anymore because all of that stuff went away. And so this is one of the pieces that's missing, and the other piece is actually login. You're actually really happy because I get a notification that I went live. Well, nice. Notifications worked. You've been working on a new app idea? As in, like, iOS type app, I'm assuming? Or generally what people mean when they say an app? More reliable Twitch notifications. Indeed. But for more than just Twitch? Yeah. You could probably... It's not impossible. Content creator go live notifications. Yeah. Could be helpful. I might want something like that. So, we used to have Next.js pages for these things. Made a small app and server to ping me when the people I care for go live. Gonna build a thing. Nice. Added you to the list because you go live tonight as a test. Well, there you go. I'm so reliable. That is one of the things when I decided I was going to start streaming, that I wanted to come up with a schedule so that I could just have a solid, like, consistent thing, so that if this thing actually, if people actually wanted to watch me, they know when, right? So if nothing else, I guess I am consistent. Got to go live notification. Very impressed, and I see. Right. It was not a false positive. Okay, so I think. Can I? There we go. And also, you didn't get the Twitch notification. Oh, wow. It's interesting, though. So one thing that the Twitch notifications also do from, like, the creator side of things is that you theoretically can see, like, how many people like clicked or tapped or activated, selected the notification, for engagement. But yeah, that might explain why it doesn't do any good if people don't get the notifications, right? Right, so I was gonna go find the old code, the old Next.js code, which should still be here in main and pages. And what we're going to do is we're going to convert these into our components here at the pages level in our components subpackage. And then I can add that to the router. So continuing our Next.js to not Next.js conversion. The Next.js removal. That's what I call the branch too. I often get the notifications that a stream I care about went live. I go click in there. 45 minutes in. Yeah. Alright, so, right. We had a bunch of different pages. Do a bunch of different things. So we basically need to convert this into what we're going to do here. Just without this get server-side prop stuff. What do I need user ID for? Nothing. Okay, so I want something like this, although we're not using the, I mean, we can continue to use the metadata component. It just doesn't really do anything right now. I've not figured out a way to make it change the page title. Props. Yeah, I know, but diary page props. Except we don't really want to do that. We just, this page is going to just have const date be that. So, wait, and it's always editable. Do I want to do it that way? I don't think I want to do this way. And in fact, so we have the thing that this is going to end up using inside of templates. So how did the big refactor go? Well, it's still ongoing. You're seeing it. This is the part where I put all the stuff back together on the front end. So last stream was basically about authentication, replacing NextAuth. Yeah, I think it's going okay. It's like you can see it. Pages are there, although that shouldn't be a full page refresh. That's got to be fixed. But yeah, we got React router and stuff going. But a lot of things are still broken. We can't log in. Like log out just shows an alert. Yeah, progress, definitely. So we have this diary component here. And the question is, do I want to wrap this in another layer of component? Yeah, okay. Or do I want to address this directly from router? So the only thing that I think we could get by adding another layer here, like, so first of all, user ID. Previously, user ID was coming from Git server-side props. Or was it? Let's look at one of the nested pages. Here we go. Yeah. So we were looking up the ID based on this user slug thing. Using that to then get the ID. Wait. I'm confused. What is this user ID referring to? Oh, it's this, right? Oh, I see. Okay. And why are we passing in the user ID into this diary component? Because it wants it. So that it can call fetch diary with the user ID? Is that where that ends? What if we just had fetch diary use the user slug instead? Then we wouldn't need to pass that around. And we already have the user slug because it's coming from the URL. Yeah. Now, then the other thing that maybe a page level diary component would do for us is we could provide on GoToDate. But that doesn't really work because the different routes need to have a different implementation of that. So I think what I want to do is delete this file. Is there anything in here? No. Okay, so we're going to delete both of these. Bye-bye. Yep. We're going to go find... Okay, we don't need to be in client. We're going to find layout. Our templates. That's the level. And I'm just going to take this. I'm going to move this into pages. This will be our kind of top level component for the diary. And then we're going to refactor this. This is going to be user slug in all the places, and then refactor here, user slug, and then refactor here to user slug, and then fix all the places where we can use the shorter syntax, and then we go into fetch diary, and we have to like propagate that change downwards. Yeah. So the refactor is not probably going to be able to go like through our thunk into the where it's going. Maybe. Let's see. Let's look at list consumptions by meal. That's the procedure that we're calling. It did. It did successfully refactor through. So why tRPC is nice. I did a refactor in client-side code of the call. Like, where did I do that refactor? In the component, the parameter to fetch diary. This is the thunk for Redux, a Redux thunk. But the type of the thunk is coming from this tRPC procedure, which is defined in the backend. And so that changed the name of the input. Yep. You're changing merchants this sprint at work, and it's a wild difference in the two. I'll also go to do a major refactor. Yeah, Braintree to Stripe. Makes sense. I haven't heard anyone talk about Braintree in quite a while. I haven't had to deal with like consumer payment stuff in quite a while either. Okay, so what am I trying to do here? Context, session. I guess what I have to do is I need to change this though. Kind of glad to just PayPal. Yeah. PayPal is still a thing apparently. Focus more on Apple, Google Pay. So like this is wrong, right? We do need the target user ID. So what we need to do is we need to change this logic to be more like, I think I want to maybe just make a function to do this because it's going to be easier than, yeah, okay. So we'll say get user ID from slug. So that'll take the user slug as an input, and then a fallback user ID if that can't be found for exactly this kind of use case. Because we might need this in more than one place, and this will be a little bit cleaner. So let's define that. And so this is going to return a string. Does that make this happy? This kind of makes me want to define like a user ID type, so that I know that's what's being passed around. But that's a little bit more work than I want to take on right at the moment. So if Copilot had a suggestion. If not user slug, return user ID. The rest of this is wrong though. And do I want to do it that way? I think what I want to do. I think, so there are three possibilities, right? So, Okay, that's overly specific. Then use the user ID. Oh, as Copilot, does it help sometimes? So you can see here, it's just like generating what I might be wanting to say, but it's not quite right in this case. So there are often times where I'm like I have the code expressed a certain way. I can make a comment. I guess I've done this once or twice, but I've seen it work really well, where you have like, here is this style of like CSS, and then I can say, here, rewrite it this other way. Like at one point I did a thing where I had a bunch of colors that were expressed as as hex, and I wanted like HSL, and it successfully rewrote, like provided a version of the same CSS with the colors changed out. Things like that. A lot of times though, it will make suggestions that are maybe good to identify what you don't want to do. So like if the user slug is defined, and see, like this comment is wrong, but what do I want to actually do here? If the user slug's defined, then I want to return the user ID found. Then get the user ID based on the slug. But the user doesn't exist actually. Okay, this is the logic that I want. Do I want to throw an error, or do I want to return null? Right, and this is I see. Let's take a look at this really quick. So can view target user ID. Okay, that has to be a string. Okay, I think I want this to return string or null. Then that'll be that error. Because otherwise I'm going to have to like catch it and rethrow a different error, or I'd have to embed like the kind of error I want to raise. So I was kind of expecting Copilot to, there we go. I had to prompt it a little bit that I wanted to start an F, and then here's what Copilot suggested. If target user ID is null, then throw new tRPC error not found, user not found. And that is a valid type. So that's one of the possible codes is not found. There we go. So we can do that. The thinking here is basically you can call this procedure to like retrieve your own diary of like what you've eaten on a given day. Or you can call it for a specific user that might be yourself or it might be a different user. So we want to take the user slug, but it is optional. If that's not provided, we want to use the user ID. User ID should be valid, but the user slug could be for a user that doesn't exist. So we are handling that case. And then we're also handling a case where the user ID that we retrieve is not, we're not friends with the user or whatever the can view logic does right now. I think it's based on this friend of thing and visibility. So if you set your visibility on your profile to public, then anyone can see. Or you can set it to friends and then only your friends can see it. Or private, only you can see it. So that's all there. Now we just need to implement this. Right, so here's what Copilot's going to suggest. So if this is undefined, then just return user ID. User ID should be good. if user slug, no, that's just wrong. So if user slug is defined, then get the user ID based on the slug. So for that, we need something to retrieve, something like some Prisma thing. Also, this needs to be an async function. Surprise. So this actually has to be a promise. Yeah. And now we need Prisma as well. Right, we don't have a global Prisma object, right? Right, and then so then we have to await here. So what are we gonna pass in? I guess we'll pass in Prisma, ctx.prisma to our utility function. Prisma. All right, we don't have that type imported. Do I want to just pass in the context instead? Yeah, I think so. Context.prisma dot user.findUnique. Yep, exactly. And then, whoops. It's user. I mean, we can do that, or we could probably do something like. What does this return? Okay, never mind. Const user. If user is null, return null, check. Otherwise, return user.id. Why is this complaining? Oh, right, because context. What's the right type then? You've been hearing bad things about Prisma recently. Might because you're more aware of what it is now. Yeah, I mean, Prisma's been okay. I have not had any complaints about it. I just saw there was a major release. I was looking at that a little bit, and there's a bunch of changes, and I've not read this yet. I'll look at that at some point. But it's opinionated a little bit. I'm not a fan of, and this is not an ORM, strictly speaking. Not really a fan of ORMs. I prefer something like I generally try to avoid doing string-based SQL, Prisma binary being huge. Yeah, I've not noticed that yet. Maybe I will notice something about that at some point. Oh, to run a Lambda? Yeah, that could be a thing. Make a layer? If we're talking about AWS Lambda, just make a separate layer that has that stuff on it. So you only like upload that once. And then you can have multiple functions that are using the layer. Right, so I'm trying to figure out what the type is of context. Like this knows what it is. Nope. Let's see here. Where do I... There must be somewhere where I'm defining the type. Or maybe there's not. Let's see here. I guess I can probably get the type out of this, right? If I say type context equals no, return type of that. And we can export that. Oh, I already did that? Hold on. Is that true? Is this the right type? It is. Well, fine. I saw there was a message. I'll look at that in a second. Add import from there. That one? Yeah. Okay. Can we just import type? Or does that make a difference? Does it make it happy? Do you use planet scale for DB by any chance? I do not. I currently, for DailyJoule, it's broken, but what it has is it has Docker, and I just have a Postgres instance running in it. So it's the complete opposite of planet scale. It's one shared VM scale. No, I know that planet scale is like a service, right? I think I came across that at one point, but it's just not something I've used now. Outside of personal things, have some familiarity with like Aurora serverless on AWS. Specifically V2. Okay, so does this implement this? So if the user slug is undefined, we'll use the user ID. If user slug is defined, then get the user ID based on the slug. We did that, right? And if user slug is defined but the user doesn't exist, which should be the case here, then return null. Found an article, if you're okay with the link. Found it funny that a streamer I follow uses both Prisma and Blend. And this article says don't. Let's see. I think right now there's a thing that will like block the link. And honestly I don't know how to allow that temporarily. I know there should be a way to do that. I'm looking at the list of like options. Twitch. You could DM me the link. Yeah, I cannot always unblock you. So I would see a thing saying you were blocked if you were blocked. I think it just ate the link. Chat settings. Manage moderation settings. I should like figure out how to moderate. Permitted terms and phrases. Block terms and phrases. Auto mod rule sets. I'm not gonna change that. Block hyperlinks. Your channel's chat will automatically delete posted URLs except for ones posted by you, moderators, admins, and VIPs. So, no, it just showed up as star. What if I mono NC? Can I do that? Nope. Okay. So currently, this channel is too small to have VIPs. That's what it's gonna do. It's gonna make you a VIP, so you could post links. I'm gonna turn off the blocking of links. Try posting a link now. Ta-da! All right. All right. I'm gonna gonna turn the hyperlink blocking back off. All right, so this is what you just shared. There we go. We migrated to SQL from what? From Mongo. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Faced a lot of interesting challenges. Biggest one was a 2-time rewrite of the code base. Yeah. I have used Mongo. I've not done a migration from MongoDB to Postgres. I have been involved in a migration from Cloudant right when they were acquired by IBM to Postgres and some other things. This was back in like 2016, 2015, 2016. So kind of similar, like document-oriented DB. Although, if I had to choose between CouchDB and MongoDB, I'm not sure. My information is probably out of date, so I'd probably have to look at that again. So what were the problems? Yeah, they use AWS Lambdas. Yeah, engines, 10 to 20 megabyte. Yeah, that might be annoying. Did they... Yeah, ES build. Yeah. No. Well, I mean, you could do that. What you do... Hold on. Okay, so the only place where they talk about layer is not a Lambda layer. So that would be the first thing I would do for this sort of situation, is that I would focus on packaging all the dependencies for the Lambdas into a Lambda layer, or potentially multiple Lambda layers, because you can just basically you can with Lambdas you can have like there's a couple of different things you can do. Like you can make a container image for your Lambda, but you can also use layers to be able to upload your dependencies as one bundle, and then when you deploy your Lambdas, you just point them at the layer. And that would get around this. And then you'd be able to do things like look at your Lambda, which would be just like a few KB, however big your source is, and then you would actually be able to view the source in the AWS console and those things, which is also nice. Yeah. How big is... Hold on. How big are the container images that I'm shipping? Can we see size on the packages in here? Is that viewable in this UI? Maybe not. Right, so this is the distributable for the DailyJoule website, back end and front end. So this would like have all that stuff in it. I don't know. And then second mistake was enabled emulated foreign key relation mode in Prisma. Staging plan and CL written in Prisma. Every new insert via Prisma open to transaction. Question mark. What does a database level transaction mean? I mean, there are issues with how connection and connection pooling needs to be managed with Postgres. Interesting to see if it's a non-issue. Seemed like a thing. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about. I mean, I think the Lambda thing is maybe not an issue if approached right, or maybe I'm missing something. And yeah. Yeah, I think this is true. But this goes back to what I'm saying, what I was saying before, which is that. So I like Prisma for this app right now. It's not doing a lot of sophisticated SQL. If I were, I might approach something, look for something a bit lower level. I don't want to be, I don't like writing SQL as strings in code. I mean, it works, but as an app grows, you end up with situations where you end up with a lot of string munging that on a larger team then ends up with a lot of ways to hide like SQL injection issues and things like that. And it also means that you can't really have any kind of like static checking of your SQL. Whereas if you have something where you have like a builder, a query builder, not an ORM, but a query builder. So in TypeScript land, there's a bunch of things that are like that. I've used Connects.js, but have mixed feelings about it in that it's fairly inconsistent between different database engines. And having gone through a conversion, I've been unhappy about the number of changes that were required to go through that. I have used in Python SQL Alchemy and have a lot of fond memories of the query builder with SQL Alchemy. And Alembic for DB migrations. But I do like query builders, and I think it's a good kind of middle of the road between the ORM and writing raw SQL queries. Whereas Prisma sits somewhere in somewhere between the query builder and the ORM ish. It's kind of it's not a one-dimensional thing, right? It's a multi-dimensional thing there in terms of that. But yeah, for this app right now, Prisma's okay. Now, we'll see. Can't optimize for everything. So, but I think this is right. And if I was actually doing this professionally, I might write unit tests. But it's fine. Yeah, we mostly seem to do raw SQL at work, and I mainly use an ORM at home. Part of me just wishes I did query builders. I write the raw SQL and have to convert to ORM, which sucks. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you like, I feel that there's a lot of difficulty if you need anything besides like what Prisma does in terms of writing records, retrieving records, updating records, just CRUD stuff. If you need something beyond that you're needing to write raw SQL, then maybe I've not used enough ORMs, but the ones I have used in the past, it does not seem to be a good match for needing to do that. And you end up with complications like, oh, I have this object that represents a record, but now it's out of date because I have this raw SQL to update some, There's all sorts of things where things just don't work the way you might wish it would. So, back to this though, our little refactor inside of the bigger refactor, which is having this take the user slug. I think this is going to work. Now, did I need to update this? Is fine. Okay, so I think that's all done. So now this takes user slug instead of ID, and it's optional. And then user ID went away, which is great. The end statement of that article is they use Prisma for migrations and DB schema, but use I see. That's a choice. I think I've come across that one. Kaisali? Yeah, I've been there. I think. TypeSafe SQL and Query Builder for TypeScript. I'm guessing this does not have like migrations or schema like definition stuff in it. Was this something where you have to define, like, where do the types come from? Oh, there are migrations. Yeah, so this part looks just like what you do in Connects for defining migrations. Yeah, very similar. Generating types. Yeah. I've used that a bunch. Connects plus TypeScript. Prisma Kaisali? This library generates Kaisali database schema type definitions from your existing Prisma schema. So that might be an out. That in Bookshelf. Yep. I think I was looking at this before as well. This seems like that might... I think this kind of does make sense as kind of an out if you were on Prisma and you needed to do something more powerful. I think that solution that you're saying that... I didn't read, obviously. Didn't get to the end of the article, but what you were saying about the end of it, where they ended up using this and Prisma for migrations and DB schema makes sense. I wonder, because I mean, this has migrations too. No, that wouldn't make sense. You'd probably just stick with doing any of your migration stuff inside of the... Keep it all inside of the Prisma. Excuse me, Prisma migrations. Okay, so the point of changing this file, and we moved it into the Pages directory, was so that we could add that to the router somehow. So, you know, theoretically, we're going to do diary. None of those diaries. Yeah, like that. Can we import it from... Nope. Components. Import diary from components, pages diary. And then it's missing some props. Problem with web, too many options in JS land. I mean, it's better than not having any options. I mean, unless you just enjoy writing everything all over again. But who has time for that? No worries. I think that was a good little diversion. It's interesting stuff and relevant. I don't know why I have 2 returns here. Oh, right, because this is going to be like an if. Or this is just a temporary thing. I don't know what I was trying to do here. But, so, how does React Router work anymore? You just heard Prisma had to ask. Yeah, makes sense. So we're using this create browser router thing, and we want to be able to pass some things in here. So date is going to be the current date. Is that supposed to be a string? Yes. Something like that. I don't know. Let's see what we did in our old code. This was something that wrong page. Let's look at the top level one. Right. So we were just doing this, which at least this part we should be able to do here. There we go. And then editable? True. Like, because this page is going to be like your own diary for the current day. And then on go to date needs to be a thing that is going to send the user to a certain date somehow. Should be something like that, which is a string. Yeah, very clever Copilot. Yeah, I would probably initially would want to just console log the date, but I might then want to actually do something else. But you're not going to suggest anything, right? Okay. All right. So nomenclature. Okay. Recommended router. DOM history API. Loaders, actions, fetchers. Loader, element. What is a loader? Loader function should provide data to the route element before it renders. Okay. Loaders for the next matching branch of routes will be called in parallel and data made available to components to use loader data. Params. Route params are parsed from dynamic segments and passed to your loader. Okay. So, but what about the element? How do I get? I mean, it's not relevant to here, but I'm just trying to think ahead a little bit. How do I get this date to the component that's going to be here? Returning responses. While you can return anything you want from a loader and get access to it from use loader data, you can also you can return a web response. Okay. Function some route. Use loader data. Okay, so this is this might be just components. Okay, a route. They couple URL segments to components, data loading and data mutations. Routes are objects passed to the router creation functions. Okay, so here's element, team, path, loader, action, error element. Okay, what I'm... Yeah, use params. Okay. I think I see. So, some options here, right? So we can either... We could change this component to use params. You should sleep. Probably. Thanks for the answers in stream. Keep grinding. Always good to see how you're tracking. Keen to use the ship site. Catch ya. The site's there. It's not really usable, but you can bookmark it. Here, let me. I should like put it somewhere. It's the very memorable DailyJoule.app. Can I go over there? Yeah, there you go. It will be there someday. Maybe well, it'll be on stream, you know, when I finally get it going. But I also have a Twitter. If you want to follow that. because I should probably post when the site's live. But yeah, hope you have some restful sleep. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. I'm going to keep on trying to figure out. I think I need to maybe move this component back and make another component that uses use params. I want to keep this API, I think. Yeah, I might undo that. Anyway, thanks. All right, take care. All right. So yeah, I absolutely have no problem with just undoing, going back to what was there before. I think this is going to mean that what I'm going to do is the pages are effectively going to be like the level that will interact with React Router. And then the next level down will be, if that makes sense, will be templates. Yep. So unwind that, and then we're going to create a new component in pages. To explain a little bit, for those that might be watching this that aren't familiar with this organization scheme, this is something, there's some blog posts that I've come across that have kind of advocated for this way of organizing components. And so far it's been okay. It's been kind of a little, or maybe I've been a little wishy-washy about what exactly goes where. But essentially all your low-level components, your, like, here's an input, here's a link, a logo, or whatever, are atoms. And then atoms are combined into larger components that are molecules. And then molecules are lumped up into organism level components. And then there are templates, which are essentially like a page or a view that will have multiple uses. And then pages are the top level things that, now that we're moving away from Next.js, are going to be the things that are going to be referenced by our router, I think. So, did I? Okay, new file, diary.tsx. All right. So we're gonna make a export default function snippet. No, diary. Going to const params equals use params, correct. Nope. Import. Sure. Yep, there we go. Copilot was useful. And then we're just going to like return using diary. Like that. Something like that. Except, so now, let's see, what we want to do is we want to import from templates. We'll call it diary template. And then it's going to complain because string or undefined is not assignable. That makes sense. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to say const date equals that, or I mean we could do this, but I don't want to. We've been doing date.js everywhere. There we go. And then we'll pass in date. And that gets us that behavior. And this is going to complain that other props are missing. We'll just get all those going. Yeah. Oh, missing another. Here we go. All right. So we can also provide a user slug. Const user slug equals that. And I think we want to say that it's editable if user slug is undefined. String undefined. Good. Okay. So that kind of implements all of the logic represented by the file names in here. I think mostly that combined with what's here in router.tsx. And then this all goes away because instead, yeah, we don't need that anymore. And this is preferable. I would like less logic, less code in this file, and we'll have this interpreting the parameters from the router, here. And then we need to go to the date. So how is that going to work? Use React router to navigate to the new date. Copilot, can you tell me how to do this? You think it's history.push, huh? I am suspicious of your the fact that it doesn't auto-suggest importing suggests that's not right. We've done this somewhere else though. So, is it use navigate? Yeah. There we go. Oops. Huh. Interesting. Pretty sure that's right though. Use navigate. Alright. So navigate. So this is a way. We're gonna have some different behaviors though, right? So if it's a useless comment. If user slug, then we want to do a slightly different navigation. We're just gonna have some if else's then, I think. Else if the date is today, do I want to do this? And do I want to have special cases like this? Or do I want to... What I could do is I could say let path equals diary. Exactly. And then... Here we go. Navigate. Path. Go away. There we go. And then... sort of. And then we add the date on the end. And that should be fine. Let's go back to the router. So we have diary date, diary, oh, it is /user. Do I want that? Or is that an artifact of what we had to do for Next.js? What if we did this? Is that going to work? And what if there's a user that has a slug that's called edit? I guess that's fine because we don't have an edit/date. And dates are, yeah. So, if because we always have a date here, I guess. No, I like this because then if it happens to be that params.date is the current date, or if date wasn't provided, in either case we're going to not do this. But that does mean that we need to have another route here, like so. How do I feel about that? Are there optional, like, do I need to specify, like, is there a way to condense down some of this? Dynamic segments cannot be partial. Optional segments. Okay. So then we could do optional static segments too. What about multiple paths? Okay. So at least if, let's go back here a little bit. So there was an example where the language was optional, and so that was like this, right? So if we did that, then we could replace that with that, and that would work. And then we could also make this path like so. What was diary edit supposed to do? Diary edit? Was that a page that existed? Oh, there was one. Oh, for the consumption ID. I see. Oops. I see. Okay, let's move that down here then. And then we're going to use edit consumption page. Okay, cool. So this should mean that we can go to the diary. Assuming, I don't know if the front end is actually picking up changes. This, I think, was a thing that was still, I was still uncertain about how Vite was going to work inside of a Docker container. And if it was actually going to be able to pick up changes. Like, because we do have the, like, this local directory mounted such that, like, it doesn't have a copy, right? Docker compose. So, like, dot is mounted into /app. Yep. So if I go to diary, Okay. So I think the issue is that Vite running in Docker container, not detecting changes. Yeah, all those things, but that's not really relevant to what my issue is. Maybe if folks have worked through all of their issues. There we go. Watch use polling, I suspect, is needed. Vite, spelled with an I, config. Was that in server? Okay, we'll stop everything and start everything. And I guess we can test. This is fine. Well, something different happened. So we tried to do the tRPC endpoint. 404 not found. So why is that? Probably because, let's look at our Docker file. No, Docker compose. Right. So we made this API URL environment variable so that the front end would know where the back end was. So that for local development, we wouldn't have to set up Nginx to proxy both and do things. But we never told the front end that it would need to do that. So let's figure that out. So somewhere... tRPC options. What's in that? Get base URL. There we go. Right. So what we needed to do was actually provide a base URL. No, I think if process.env, do I want to keep the base URL? I don't think we use base URL. Well, I use it here for the back end. Okay, let's... But is this used? I don't know. Let's just add a separate thing here. Not first URL, API URL. There. So the page did refresh when we changed code, so that's working. But this API URL, right, in the environment, and then tRPC options. If process.env, what if I do a full page refresh? Still is not going to a different place. Is there something in the... Whoops. Wrong place to hit Control P. Vite config that we need to do to ensure that the environment variables are making it through? Not there. App type, env prefix, env dir. Like, are the environment variables passed to that are present? Actually, that's a question, right? So Docker compose. like we provide this environment variable for the service where we're running targetfile.dev and we're running these npm commands. So theoretically, API URL should be set. And should be visible for Vite. So let's see, Vite environment variables. How do you work? Okay, so we wouldn't want to use base URL anyway, because it would be the wrong thing. Talking about what's happening here. Browser should use relative path as a statement that is not strictly true. Okay, so that's why that wouldn't be working. So now if we refresh, it's just broken. Up to HMR. Okay, all. I managed to break it somehow. Are there network requests that are now failing? Why is process is not defined? Right. Of course not. This isn't running in Node. Vite exposes env variables on the special import.meta.env object. So how might I, in my code, see that? Import.meta.env. Okay. I don't string or undefined, but I'm checking to see. Not equal to undefined. Therefore it must be a string. Oh, or I need to update the other one too. Of course. Look. It's a string, okay? Just trust me. All right. That happened. We're still not using it though. Even though, okay, so what else do we need to do? Reopen that tab. Vite exposes env variables on the special object. Can we add more? Okay, env file specific mode will take higher priority. Environment variables that already exist when it's executed have the highest priority and will not be overwritten by env files. Oh, it needs to start with Vite, doesn't it? So this is fine. In production, we're not going to be using this. Instead, we'll have Nginx to proxy. And so we won't need a special URL. It will just be relative. And the comment here will be true. It's just locally that I want to be able to inject a different URL. Now, this is a little bit of a foot gun because we're going to have one behavior running locally and a different behavior elsewhere. Also, front end. Okay, so it doesn't transform the name. Oops. it still needs to be, the same name, but it needs to start with feet, apparently, to be picked up. Maybe. Okay, let's only xhr. So that's good. We tried to hit localhost 3001. And what happened? Cores mismatch. Brilliant. Request API tRPC. Is that not a good URL? Can I? Oh, of course not. Ah, okay. So the issue is that it's making me more and more want to just run Nginx locally. But anyway, do I... Oh, I see. Let's do this. Let's remove the /API here. And our plan will be, we'll use that relative path that way. Okay. And now our error should be, still cores. Response headers. Yeah, we need to provide options pre-flight for the backend so that we can do this. And again, hitting Control P in the wrong place. Is it just server.ts? Let's see. So I think I just want to provide course headers for /tRPC. Brilliant. Is that... Can I just do this? So you wouldn't want to actually do this in real life, but in development, I'll be okay for a minute. And we don't have to wait to have the server restart and reload source, so we'll just stop everything and start it again. At least it doesn't take too long. All right. What was the error? Cores failed. Options. Response. Sure, cores failed, but this is the request that should have told us what the header was. So, bad URI. Sure. Hold on. We got response headers. Okay. How do I intercept all requests? Right. Okay. So let's do this. App.options. Oh, right, that's just a string. Okay, we can do that. And then that, and next, and so eventually we're gonna get a different error. Okay, so now we don't get a okay, let's just try reloading. 405 method not allowed. Why not? How do I do anything again? Express. There we go. Request, response, application. Yep, method. And then path. String representing path, the path pattern, path examples. Here we go. Can I just have everything starting with tRPC API endpoint? Middleware callback function examples at use. Okay. So suppose I wanted to intercept all options requests. Set those headers and then continue on to the next thing for all endpoints. Accept matches all verbs. Path examples. Star. Let's just do star. Or tRPC endpoint. Star. It doesn't matter. Again, this is just for local working, so I can avoid setting up Nginx. Although that's feeling less and less worthwhile by the minute. It's not like it would be super difficult. We have examples of that elsewhere. Okay, so getting options request, but no response headers apparently. Method not allowed. Okay. I mean, double check something here. Oh, localhost :3001 tRPC playground. So this exists, which means that node env is development. Otherwise, this wouldn't be available. Yes. Maybe we should not have next. Is there anything else we need to do here? maybe send to 200. I don't know. I should probably just Google setting that up. If I'll do that while I'm waiting for things to start up again. Express.js options cores. Oh look, there's cores middleware. Now why would I do something like that? Huh? Method not allowed. Okay. Cores pre-flight. Options thing. Access control, allow origins and headers. Is there something else I'm missing here? Methods. Huh. I feel like I'm failing to receive. Is this a ordering thing? Okay. You know what? It's too much time spent on this. Let's just do the thing that I probably should have done in the first place, which means that we can get rid of this, and we can do proxy. Yeah, not exactly that. Like I don't want to host it on port 80. We don't need. Okay, how do I want to do this? Docker compose and infrastructure as an example. An old example. This is all going to have to be updated too, since this doesn't entertain the idea of having a separate front end and back end thing that both need to be accessible. So no. This is definitely. I was thinking that was going to be easier, but it's not. It's not going to be easier than figuring this out. I think maybe we just need to. Can we just add cores here? Here's something we don't need. Okay. Wait. I want to be inside the server folder because we have separate packages for things. Restart the server again. probably need to add type scores. If that exists. It does. Alright. So... Okay. Oh, right. I changed the other thing, didn't I? Let's put that back in. Rewind some of those changes. All right. There we go. Now we're hitting the back end, and we're trying to do options request, and naturally failing. There's an options. We did have response. And then, okay. And then 401 unauthorized. Yeah. Yay. It works. Sort of. It fails in a better way, in a more expected way. So we're going to go to 3001/auth discord. And we authorize. And that redirects us. But that should mean that we're still unauthorized. Is this like a cookie issue? Like we can't be localhost, we need to be this? Yeah, but this is still localhost. Right. Okay, for the moment, I'll do this. So the issue, I think, is that the cookie is set for this host. So it's only visible there, which is what ties our browser to the session. Interesting. Why did this fail? Okay, now it succeeded. And then this failed because we're unauthorized. Is it? Yeah, no cookies. So it's interesting, right? So here, if you look here, there is a cookie on HTTP 10.0.0.141, 3001. It exists with our session ID. Host only true. What does host only mean? How do cookies work? I could read the Stack Overflow. I'll just read the docs. Boolean, true if the cookie is a host only cookie. The request host must exactly match the domain of the cookie. The request's host. What is the request's host? See, this is there are no cookies for this request though. let's read the Stack Overflow. If the domain attribute is not empty, if the canonicalized request host does not domain match the domain attribute. What is the domain match? Does the port matter? I'm guessing so. Okay. So the issue I see here, not the issue with cookie, that's I think I understand what's going on there. But I feel like this is gonna eat time. I'm gonna re-say the thing I said before, which is I think we need to sort out having a proxy and all of that, which I'm not too excited about. Let's see here. So if we go into infrastructure, we have an nginx conf. We don't need all of this, right? Just for local stuff, but we need a way to proxy one HTTP request to one of two servers. Either the Vite front-end dev server. Oh, wait. Can we do something better? I think there are two options, right? So I think probably, does Vite have like a proxy option? Yes. Like Webpack does, so. API, target, change origin. We don't need that. Okay, what other options are there? Auth, auto rewrite, configure, cookie domain rewrite, cookie path rewrite. I don't know. We'll see if any of those options are needed. So that's interesting. But what this means is that all those things I changed aren't necessary. I think what we'll be able to do is to process that env.api URL. Yeah, or that, sure. And then we'll keep that, although this can go back to being localhost. And then tRPC, was it this file? No. tRPC in story utils for whatever reason. We'll put this back. And then this stuff goes away, and this just ends up being an empty string again. Bam. And then we're just gonna stop everything. Oh, right, so then this is wrong. Right, so what we need to do is in the docker compose, it's not localhost 3001, it's backend. Because this is actually going to be the process running inside of the Docker container, talking to backend. So then we can also say that the front end depends on the backend, like so. We'll leave port 3001. Wait. So this is actually port 3000. That's the actual port exposed on the container. We're actually just mapping it to 3001 on the, the host, my computer, outside of the containers. So then should be able to run this, and basically Vite will proxy API requests to the backend. maybe. So now we just we did the request to here, and we got our internal server error. Excellent. Because connection was refused on port 3000. I'm confused. Isn't the backend? So first of all, that. Isn't this the exposed port on the host? And so the backend is listing on port 3000. We shouldn't need to, like, we don't need the links thing. That used to be a thing, right? Where you would say links and then do all that. You don't have to do that. The depends on is supposed to be so that things are set up properly. What if we just refresh? 404 not found. Hold on. So what if we just resend this request? Okay. So it is hitting the back end. Something's happening anyway. Oh, that's whatever. 3000. But it's returning a 404 not found. Oh, right, because it can't find the user. That's normal-ish. Maybe? Right, so what's actually happening in the back end here? Can we okay. Let's resend that again and see if we can observe. Okay, so here's the request coming in. So we're trying to select session, and then we are getting session, updating session, selecting session. Okay, set all session stuff. Where's the 404 coming from? API tier. Okay, so I think this is a much simpler thing. I've actually encountered a similar thing before, right? So what we need to do is we need to rewrite the path to replace the leading API because the backend doesn't have a path that starts with API. Bam, it works. We got the diary back. Of course, this is all empty because I wiped out the DB and I never migrated all of our test data from the SQLite DB. In fact, I deleted that thing. But there it is. Now, shouldn't there be stuff to like edit the diary? Shouldn't this be editable? So let's find the right file called diary. Here we go. It's editable if user slug is undefined. So maybe our type is a lie. Let's take a look. And I'm way overdue for our break, so we're gonna pause here. Yeah, user slug is undefined. Okay, well we'll figure that out. When I come back from the break, I'm just gonna take a couple minutes, stretch my legs, and refill my water. And when we get back, moving on to fixing the rest of the things. All right, be back in just a few. And I have returned. All right, so what is the debugger telling us? Well, it says user slug is undefined. So editable should be true, one would think. So let's take a look at the components tree. Components. Let's find our diary component. One of them. Oh no, okay, let's take the debugger line out. There we go. Okay, which Which diary is this? I think this is the top level one. Let's retry that. There we go. Okay. So we got params. So we got to connect to diary. So editable true. Date. Okay, so why... If editable is true, why is it not editable? Okay, editable? Like, editable should control whether or not the controls to, like... oh, right. This user doesn't have meals. Right. We need to, like... Right. So, hold on. Do I have a thing in the backlog for, like, fixing, making it so that user sign up actually works properly? TOS, full text search, improve handling. Let's add a thing here. Make sure users have some sane and some reasonable initial default settings, meals, etc. Right, because right now, let me launch Prisma Studio. This should work. Right now, when you sign up, like when your user account is created, when you do the auth flow, you don't have any meals. I think it's the meal model, right? So we can add a record. Select a user. Select me. There we go. Okay. Label. Breakfast. 6. No consumptions yet, but we don't need to populate that. So that's why right now, when we look at the UI for the meal, there was nothing there, so there are no options. Also, I'm not happy about the contrast and how the buttons and stuff look in dark mode. Much easier to see here. Although some of these buttons could be used for more emphasis. Anyway, UI tweaks aside. So yeah, we can interact with this. It does nothing. Why doesn't that do anything? What else is broken? Okay, well, let's pursue that. Whoops. So, diary meal is the component. And then what's supposed to happen is you click add to breakfast. Add to thing. Calls on add food search. If that exists. Do we have... Okay, so we are dispatching events, it looks like. Events is not the right word, but actions. So like here's action, open dialogue. So why are things not happening? Interesting. Type dialogue, open dialogue. Meal, add food. So like the dispatch part is happening, but the part where, let's see, diff. So that doesn't change the state at all. Let's go back to here. Okay, dialogue details gets populated. Oh, are we... Let's go back to the code. I think we're missing something. If we go back to the top level and we go into... is it in pages? The _app.tsx? where is, so there's a thing that's supposed to exist that has all of the dialogues, all of like the modals, that gets injected. Was that in layout? It's not in here because this doesn't get rendered on everything. Yeah, layout had the dialogues. Does it still have that? Yes. It has this. To do status. We'll have to go back through and search for all the to-dos at some point. So meal add food dialogue. That's what's supposed to be shown right now. Let's add a debugger. There we go. Okay, so far, this is looking right. Meals is undefined, so that's a problem. Meals is from select meals. Oh, is this a, okay. Yeah, it's because I reached into the DB and changed something, and then I've not done a full refresh of the page since then. Which is not a normal use case. Like, there's no capability in the app to edit another user's meals. The only way to do that is to do it yourself through settings. But settings is currently busted because those pages aren't implemented yet to authentication. Right, lack of cookie if we go to localhost. There we go. Not settings. Diary. Okay, so now if I click add to breakfast. Aw, I thought that was gonna work. Why no meals? Select meals. That's coming from settings. Are we not loading settings? I guess not. Like, that should be the first thing that happens, right? When the page loads. But I guess that's not happening because we have things hard-coded to not think that we're logged in, maybe? Let's see if we can go hunt that down. Where does that logic exist? Right here. So if what is this? It's a Boolean, right? So not equal to true. So if not unauthenticated. Okay, that's a little bit easier to understand. Then we dispatch fetch settings. So right now, this must be set to true. Okay, hold on. This is going to be a lot easier to understand if I refactor this. There we go, authenticated. So if authenticated, all right, we've inverted the meaning here though. So now if we click this works. So theoretically, we're not supposed to be able to get to here if this is false. That is a thing. I don't know what this to do was for. Oh, right, probably for this. Okay, so how do we know if we're authenticated? also, are there options we can pass here? Future key, fallback, elements, interesting. Can we, so what I'm thinking about right now is like, how could we, like, we're gonna know here whether we're authenticated. I guess we can do something. Right. Actually, let's talk about that a little bit. So we have this router, right, that defines all these routes. And we probably want to have something here. That does different things depending on whether you're logged in or not. Like, none of these things should be accessible if you're not logged in. We can also let's see. Yeah, let's do this. So let's make a I want to figure out how this is supposed to work. Path diary blah, 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 blah. Children. There we go. And then we'll take all of this stuff and put it inside. I wonder, you know, something I've not had a lot of luck with the Copilot is telling it to do like a refactor. I wonder if it could do that. Is there a Copilot? Fix. Apply suggestion. Generate this. Generate this is interesting. Refactor this code to use a single parent route. Yeah, that's the wrong style. Do that with the create browser router style. Just kind of curious if it can. Nope. Okay. Just looking for opportunities to leverage that. But why do I want to do this? Well, then I should be able to use the loader. Yeah, basically like this. Except to actually like check to see if we're authenticated and do the right thing. I guess. Okay. Let's look at docs here a little bit more. See loader for documentation for more details. See, lots of hooks that we could use inside of components, and we could like have a component that wraps the whatever child, and then, you know, checks to see if we're authenticated, and then does a redirect. That's an option if there's not a better way of doing this, or a way, like, it'd be nice if there was a compact way of doing this here. Boundary handle should revalidate lazy. What does should revalidate do? Oh, I see. Huh. And I suspect loader is not really going to do what we want to do here. Route params are parsed and passed to your loader. What else is passed to the loader? What is available in the loader? Can we see agnostic non-index route object loader? Okay, great. Loader function. Loader function args. Extends data function args. Request params context. Context is any. Where does the context come from? What is the context? It's an any, right? Can be anything. Context. Maybe it's the use in router context. Hooks return true if the component. Okay. Use outlet context. Often parent routes manage state or other values you want to share with child routes. You can create your own context provider if you like, but this is such a common situation that it's built into outlet. Okay. Huh. What does it mean? Okay, I think we could probably just let's create a new file called authenticated page.tsx, and we're going to export default function authenticated page, and so there are questions. I think our authentication status, we're going to have to probably, we'll probably get rid of this. And instead we'll read it from the store. Yep. And so then this, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So right now I'll just say authenticated equals true. And we'll say to do add slice and read this from it. There we go. And then this is going to accept children. Yep, like that. Oh, we're missing syntax. There we go. And then if not authenticated, We could do something like that, but we're not going to. Instead, we're going to return redirect to login. Otherwise, we're going to return children. Like so. All right. And then, at least for this, what we can do is we can say element is authenticated page. I guess it's actually, you do this, right? Yep. Its type is not valid. Okay, so we did something wrong here. That's not right. Surely I have examples of. Is that not right? It's a function. It should return. Right. A redirect is, no, this is not right. We should have a use hook. Yeah. Use navigate. There we go. That's the right way to do it. And then there. Now, for all the pages underneath this, it's going to be embedded inside of an authenticated page component. And this, we should be able to verify that right now this doesn't work. Absolute route path, user slug nested under path diary is not valid. An absolute child route path must start with the combined path of all of its parent routes. Oh, it doesn't auto like concatenate all the parts together. I didn't know that. I just kind of assumed it would work a certain way, and I was wrong. Slide mode for a little bit. So then if we change this to false, instantly it redirects us to login. Perfect. Okay. So then we'll be able to do the same thing for other stuff. We can probably just, can we do this? Is this allowed? Okay, great. Actually, you know, if it's not combining, I have a thought here. So what if we had element is authenticated page, outlet, and then children is everything else. Like so. Comma. Actually, what I should probably do... Okay, this is fine for right now. So what we'll do is we'll have everything be under there except for login. Yep, there we go. Now I'll have a login page. And I guess we should have a logout page too. Comma. But then everything else under this will require authentication. And then we don't need this, right? And then we don't need this loader either. And then we'll finally be able to get to the settings page. Right, so we can go there and go to settings. See how broken it is. Hey, it's a page that exists. Go back to diary. I think, yeah, this is good. I'm gonna do, I don't think we really have time to get into hooking up whether or not we're authenticated right now, but I think one thing I want to do, because it's really bugging me, it's been bugging me this whole time, is thing, right? So the navigation, every time you click one of the nav items, it does a full page load. And I think we can fix that. So I think we have this link. Right. Okay. So right, so what we're going to do here is we are going to on click. Yeah, something like that, but not that. And then there we go. And then we're going to navigate. Nope. To props.href. Well, you can't create the import for me? Sure. There you go. There you go. Use navigate. No, that's what I meant. Okay. What is pass href supposed to do? I mean, we've defined it because we probably are using it somewhere. So in the thing that we were originally simulating. Oh, I see. Button name. Okay, so yes. So now we're not doing a full page load every time we navigate around. Except when we hit that link, home link. Because we are... Can we do this? Link. There. Excellent. And this is still actually a link with an href. We just have a handler on it so that we can use whatever API it is that React Router DOM uses. All right. That's fine for now. What is pass href supposed to do? What is the implication of? Like, that was something from Next.js, yeah? So, yeah, pass href was not used. This is needed in order to pass the href to the child A tag. Right. but we always do that. I guess we could. Do I want to not do that ever? I think for now, I want to remove that. And I'll remove it from here so that it's not broken. There we go. And just one less Next.js thing. Okay. And got a bunch of stuff left here. So this is all the things we changed today. I think I'm going to just leave things like this for next time around. But hey, it's a lot of progress in terms of being able to actually use the site. Like, can we actually add something? Yeah, we don't have a local DB anymore. That all got wiped out. So now we get a open food facts. Does it work? Looks like our barcode scanner icon is broken now. We don't need Prisma Studio anymore. All right, we got results. Yeah, infinitely scrolling. Let's just add some. Where's my I'll bring this. Okay, I guess that wasn't in our results that we just pulled. So let's search again. Nope. Organic ginger cubes. All right, we're not doing full text search yet on our DB, so it's gonna be a bit hit or miss. We should get maybe some more results. There we go. So let's add that. We'll add 1 serving. That's not a serving size. The serving size is actually 40 grams. 40 grams, though. That's quite a lot of ginger cubes. I don't currently have a goal, so that's all reasonable looking, and it got added. All right, that's not editable either. It can be moved or deleted. We currently don't have the route to edit the item though. Okay. I think it didn't respect the fact that I selected 1 gram instead of 100. So now we got 4,000 grams of ginger cubes. Okay, that's a lot. I don't think that's feasible. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. So thanks so much for watching. We'll pick this up next week, same time. And I feel like we're getting through this refactor, and we're getting pretty close to being able to deploy this thing again and actually having a thing that can be used. Future streams, maybe a few weeks from now, thinking about doing some things with Minecraft mod developments, getting into that a little bit. So something to look forward to. And then throughout the week I have other streams. If you're listening right now, you might want to check out the stream schedule on Twitch. So thanks again so much for watching, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.